I just tested an AI coding tool that claims to be #1 in the world, and honestly, I had to sit back for a solid 10 minutes after watching it build a complete application in just 3 minutes. But here's the real question. Is Abacus AI actually overhyping their Code LLM CLI, or are we witnessing the revolution we've all been waiting for? If you're a developer, you've probably noticed the CLI agent storm that's been brewing lately. Google's got one. Anthropic's got theirs. Even Cursor jumped into the game. But here's the brutal truth. I've tried most of them, and they're still pretty clunky. Either they're slow, they lose context, or they're only good at basic tasks. Then, Abacus AI drops this bold statement. Code LLM CLI is the world's #1 coding agent. Initially, I thought this was just typical marketing hype. But when they said this tool fuses GPT-5 with Claude Sonnet 4, I'll admit, I was intrigued. What caught my attention first wasn't the interface or the marketing, it was the approach. Most other AI coding tools rely on a single model, maybe GPT-4, maybe Claude. But what does Code LLM CLI do? It orchestrates 2 models simultaneously in real time. GPT-5 handles the heavy lifting, processing complex logic, generating code, and doing the computationally intensive work. Meanwhile, Claude Sonnet 4 acts as the conductor, planning, analyzing context, and ensuring everything makes logical sense. Sounds fancy, but does it actually work in practice? I tested it with a challenge. Build me a complete chat-to-PDF app that lets me upload PDFs and chat with the content without sending data anywhere. The result? 4 minutes and 32 seconds. A complete application with beautiful UI, back-end processing, and PDF parsing. I didn't even have time to make coffee before it was done. But you know I never trust marketing demos. I need to test with real-world scenarios. So I threw it at an actual codebase, an e-commerce site my team had been working on for 3 weeks, full of bugs and technical debt. First thing that was different. Instead of just fixing individual bugs, Code LLM CLI scanned the entire project and gave me a diagnosis report. It didn't just say you have 15 bugs, it categorized them. 5 security-critical bugs, 7 performance-related bugs, 3 UI/UX bugs. More importantly, it explained the reasoning behind each fix. Instead of just saying replace this line with that line, it explained, I'm changing how authentication is handled here because the current implementation is vulnerable to session hijacking. This is a safer approach and also improves performance by 40%. And here's what I loved most, mid-execution adjustment. With other tools, you have to wait for it to finish generating before you can make changes. But Code LLM CLI, you can interrupt and redirect while it's coding. I tested this. Hey, change approach. Instead of using REST API, make it GraphQL. For me. And it pivoted immediately without having to restart. To prove this point, I challenged it with a project I thought would stump it, a spreadsheet-to-chat application. Sounds simple, but the real requirements were way more complex. Upload large Excel, CSV files, up to 50 millidollars, parse and display metadata, rows, columns, data types. Natural language chat interface to query, data dynamic visualization generation, export. Capabilities multi-model support within the chat. I figured this project would take at least 2 days to build from scratch. Code LLM CLI, 18 minutes. And not 18 minutes for a simple prototype. 18 minutes for a production-ready app with error handling, responsive design, and performance optimization. What shocked me most was when I tested it with an Excel file containing 100,000 rows. Normally, web apps would crash or load super slowly. But this app, it automatically implemented pagination, lazy loading, and virtual scrolling. Techniques that even senior developers have to Google how to implement. I know you're going to ask, how does it compare to Cursor or GitHub Copilot? I spent an entire week testing them side by side, and here are my real findings. GitHub Copilot. Excellent for autocomplete and small code snippets, but with complex projects. It loses context after about 50 lines of code. I had to manually guide it through each step. Cursor. Better than Copilot at understanding project structure, but it can still only do one thing at a time. Want to refactor architecture? You have to break it down into 10-15 smaller tasks. Code LLM CLI. Here's what's crazy. It can maintain context for an entire codebase. I tested it with a monorepo containing 500 plus files, and instead of working piece by piece, it can execute multi-step plans. I watched it refactor 20 components, update tests, modify database schema, and update documentation, all in a single command. But I have to be honest, it's not perfect. With very niche technologies or proprietary frameworks, it still struggles. And sometimes it over-engineers, creating solutions more complex than necessary. The big question, is it worth the money? I tracked time and productivity for 2 weeks. Week 1, no AI, 3 new features, 12 bugs fixed, 40 hours of work. Week 2, using Code LLM CLI, 8 new features, 25 bugs fixed, 35 hours of work, simple math, 130% productivity increase while working 12% fewer hours. If you calculate based on a senior developer's hourly rate, 120 hour, this tool practically pays for itself in just 3 to 4 days. But here's the catch: learning curve. The first 2 to 3 days, my productivity actually decreased because I had to learn how to communicate effectively with the AI. It's not like Google. You need structured prompts and clear specifications. I won't sugarcoat this. Code LLM CLI isn't a silver bullet. After 2 weeks of intensive testing, here are the limitations I discovered. Legacy code. With old code bases, 10 plus years, it often misunderstands deprecated patterns and suggests modern solutions that aren't compatible. Domain-specific knowledge. If you work in specialized industries, finance, healthcare, aerospace, it lacks regulatory knowledge and compliance requirements. Team collaboration. It's excellent for individual work, but struggles with complex team workflows, merge conflicts, and collaborative debugging. Creative problem solving. With algorithmic challenges or innovative solutions, it tends to stick with common patterns instead of thinking outside the box. Abacus. AI announced that benchmarks will be released in 2 weeks, but I have a feeling this is just the beginning. The memory system they're testing could be a game changer. Imagine an AI assistant that knows exactly your coding style, preferred architectures, and past project patterns. Here's what I predict. In the next 6 months, we're going to see a war between major players. Google will integrate Gemini deeper into development tools, Microsoft will push Copilot harder, and Anthropic definitely won't sit still. But if Code LLM CLI maintains its current trajectory, it could become the industry standard for AI-assisted development. So what's my verdict? Code LLM CLI isn't hype, it's genuinely impressive and has the potential to reshape how we approach software development. But it's also not a magic wand. You still need solid programming fundamentals and clear project vision. My recommendation: if you're a solo developer or working in a small team with a modern tech stack, it's definitely worth trying. If you're working in a large enterprise with complex legacy systems, maybe wait a few more months for the tool to mature. And if you're just starting to learn programming, I suggest mastering the fundamentals before relying too heavily on AI tools. Understanding why code works is more important than knowing how to generate code. Do you guys have experience with other AI coding tools? Share in the comments and I'll test and review them in upcoming videos. And don't forget to subscribe if this content was useful. I'll continue following the AI development space and bring you the most practical insights. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.